Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Alhamdulillah. Session number 5 on the reading of this beautiful book written by Imam Ibn Qayyim, which has been translated into the title, in the Invocation of God. Okay, so we are still in part 1, chapter number 1, on the paths to happiness. And in the subtopic of signs of veneration for the one who prohibits. This is page 13 for those who are following us with the book. All right, so the Imam says, the signs of veneration for the prohibitor, an-nahi, the one who prohibits, include taking care to avoid places and situations where prohibited things, their causes, and whatever invites to them are found. Okay. So not only he's not doing the things which are prohibited, but he also takes care to avoid places and situations where prohibited things, even their causes, and whatever invites to them are found. I'll give you an example. If you know there's a group of people, this is just like a general example, okay? There's a group of people, if you meet them 100%, you will backbite. 100% you know you're going to backbite. Yeah. So in this case, you would avoid this company. Yeah. Unless you know, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to stop them. Okay. If you think you have the ability to do that, then actually it becomes fard upon you. It becomes obligatory upon you to go there and to stop them. Okay. So the rulings changes. The rulings change. The rulings change depending on the circumstance. So something haram can actually become obligatory upon you. If you know I can go and I can stop these people, they're having this party and it's completely haram, I can go, I can tell them off, and there's a good chance they might listen to me, then it becomes obligatory upon you. Okay? But over here, generally speaking, a person avoids, if he fears he's going to fall into himself. Then he says, it also entails avoiding all the means by which they are approached. This is one of the rulings, one of the principles. It's an usul of our Sharia. Yeah. You also avoid the means which leads to a haram. Yeah. And how do we, what is this means establishment? This usul, subhanallah, this usul is established on the command of Allah to our father Adam alayhi salam, don't even go near the tree. Yeah. Allah did not say to our father Adam that don't eat the fruit. He said don't even go near it. Okay, so this is one of our principles. You block the means to haram. So this is what the prohibitor does. And subhanAllah, another point before we move on is Imam Ibn Qayyim is also known as our Imam, who is the doctor of the heart. Yeah. So when he writes, he makes you analyze the state of your heart, your spiritual heart. Yeah. So then he says it also entails avoiding all the means by which they are approached, fleeing from places which have forms that lead to temptation. Yeah. Out of fear of being tempted by them. Discarding something harmless in itself as a precaution against something else which is harmful. This, subhanAllah, is also meaning of taqwa. Right? You stay away, well away from the boundaries of Allah. Boundary means, okay, you cross this, you're going into haram. The muttaqi, the person of taqwa, he stays way, way away from the boundaries of going into haram. Why? Out of fear that he might fall into it. It makes sense, doesn't it? If you're going to live on the boundary, isn't there a greater chance of you falling into haram? But if you stay away from the boundary, you'll be safe. Okay. So these are all signs of veneration. That's the chapter, signs of veneration. You have so much veneration in your heart for the prohibitions of Allah that you stay away from all the means which lead to haram, meaning even things which are harmless in themselves. Yeah? Okay. And I think the example explains it. Yani meeting people as a principle is okay. But if it means that you'll go there and you'll backbite, then you will avoid that altogether. Okay, if that was a good example, Allah knows best. So, discarding something harmless in itself as a precaution against something else which is harmful. Avoiding things which are unnecessary but permitted. Unnecessary but permitted. Who can give an example of this? Something unnecessary but permitted. Going to the shops, going to the mall. Yeah, avoiding things which are unnecessary but permitted. Out of fear of engaging in things which are reprehensible. Makruh. It includes avoiding people who talk about committing sin. This is a very interesting example. Avoiding people who talk about sin. They're not doing the sin, they're talking about the sin. But what's the problem? Extol it, invite to it. And extol it means they're praising the sin. Oh, I did this, and praising the sin. Let's go and do this. And it's a sin. Belittle it. What's the big deal? Come on, let's go do this. Yeah. Or pay no heed to it. Okay. So avoiding these type of people. You don't want to go into people who belittle the sins of the sins that Allah has said you're not allowed to do. Yeah. They belittle the commands of Allah and His prohibitions, and they invite each other and they encourage each other to sin. Yeah. And they praise the sin. Shall I give you an example? Example is they see weddings these days, even olden days, but these days, subhanallah, there's dancing, men and women together. And what do people do? They look at photos and they praise it. They look at videos and they praise it. What is this? Yeah, this is a sign there is no veneration. There is no veneration for the commands and prohibitions of Allah in the heart of such a person. May Allah help us. May Allah guide us. But you have to diagnose the problem now. If you're not going to diagnose the problem, how are you going to fix it? Yeah. So hang in there, my dear sisters. Don't run away. Okay. So for to mix with such people is to invite divine anger. So the Imam is saying this person, he himself is not doing these sins. He himself is not going to such weddings. He himself is not thinking, oh, this is wonderful, what's going on. But he's saying this person to mix with such people is to invite divine anger. Why are you hanging out with this lot? Right? Why are you hanging around with them? Not talking about family. Family is a different story. You're not allowed to cut ties. Okay? You're not allowed to avoid them. Them you have to mix with it. Talking about companions. Yeah, the Quran and Sunnah are very clear about the type of people you keep company with, your friends, the people who give you advice, the people who encourage you, the people who discourage you. Who are these people? Signs of veneration for the one who prohibits. For to mix with such people is to invite divine anger. Think about it when you get together in a group and you're doing something evil together. Do you think the rahmah of Allah is descending on this gathering? Alhamdulillah, the rahmah of Allah is descending upon this gathering. Why? Because we've gathered together to study the deen of Allah. Right? But places where people gather to commit a sin are places where divine anger descends. Therefore, you have to be very careful where you're going. Yeah? You have to be very careful and you have to think about your intention. Why am I going to this place? Yeah. Oh, what's the big deal? Let's go watch a movie. Okay, no big deal. The rahmah of Allah is descending on this gathering. And no one would do so unless the veneration of Allah has left his heart. Okay. No one would do so unless the veneration of Allah has left his heart. You cannot separate the commands and prohibitions of Allah from Allah Himself. That's the point. We've been studying this for the past couple of sessions. If you have real veneration of Allah in your heart, you will have veneration of His commands. So this person, the Imam is saying, the veneration of Allah has left his heart. He's going to these places, doesn't even feel bad about it. Hanging out with these people, dancing, happy. Oh, we had so much fun. Okay. Moving on. Next slide. Another sign of veneration Okay, what are these veneration signs of veneration for particularly what? The topic is now the prohibitor, meanings veneration for the prohibitions of Allah. How do I know I have this type of veneration in my heart? Yeah, so he gives some signs. Now, another sign he says, as you can see on your screen, for veneration of Allah is for the slave servant to feel anger when Allah's sanctity is debased, to experience sadness and lowliness in his heart when Allah is disobeyed on his earth, and when his rules and commandments are not kept, although the slave himself can do nothing to change that. And he feels sad. Even if he can't change the situation, these people are behaving badly. But the thing is, he's not admiring them. We admire people who are sinning. Subhanallah. He feels anger. He feels sad that Allah is being disobeyed. A sign of veneration for the divine law is when a servant does not take a license with certain permitted things so as to fall into excess and no longer tread the middle road. For example, now he's going to give you examples to explain what does he mean taking taking license with certain permitted things. Yeah. So he gives the example of a sunnah has been recorded about delaying midday worship in extreme hot weather. Okay, this is permissible. You're allowed to delay dhuhr in extremely hot weather. This is allowed. So, what would excessive license be in this case? He says excessive license in this would be to delay it so long that its time would pass or nearly so. And he gets almost asr. For the purpose in allowing it to be delayed is that in extreme heat, instead of offering the prayer with humility and presence, the worshipper will do it with reluctance and annoyance. Why? Because it's so hot. So, therefore, in this particular circumstance, it is permissible for one to delay the prayer, okay, but not till asr. Okay, it has to be within the time frame of the Dhuhr. It was part of the wisdom of the lawgiver, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So you're referring to the Prophet, to order Muslims to delay the prayer until the heat broke, permitting them to pray with presence of heart. This is the reason. So that when you pray, you're praying with presence of heart and to achieve the aim of the prayer. What is the aim of the prayer? Namely, turning towards Allah in humility. That is why we're supposed to pray. Yeah, it's the presence of your heart turning to Allah in humility. And if it's too hot, a person would be too distracted. Yeah, and he would find it difficult to have this presence of heart in the prayer. So, in such circumstances, it is permitted. Of course, this was in the time when they didn't have ACs and fans like us. It is permissible. While the ruling is still there, it is still permissible if you don't have AC and it's too hot to delay the prayer. Okay. He also prohibited the servant from offering prayer when food is ready. Okay, so eat first. Yeah, but again, not that okay, you're eating and eating and eating, and then it's almost asr time. Or when the servant needs to urinate or move his bowels. Yeah, you delay the prayer. You do this first and then you go and pray. Because concern for such things would distract him from the aim of the prayer. Yeah, so it's all about the goal of why we are praying. It's not just about the ritual itself, it's also about the goal of the prayer. So he says, indeed, the rule is for a man to turn towards his labor and to accomplish it, then to empty his heart of it for the prayer. Turn towards Allah and stand before Him with his whole being. 2 rakat of prayer like this will atone for whatever sins he had committed. The idea here is not to seek excessive license. Yeah, excessive license would be what? To use a rukhsa, right? Something Allah has made permissible. Okay, so in such circumstances, you can delay something. Yeah, you become lazy. Don't use it as a goal, as an excuse. Everybody knows. Everybody knows when they have a valid reason or they don't. Yeah. So it's what are we doing? We are reflecting over this concept. Another example he gives is is shown by the Prophet, who permitted a traveler to combine two prayers where there is an excuse. Very important, and this example is also, I think, very relatable to us because many of us travel, right? And what do? We combine the prayer. Yeah, we're not talking about shortening the prayer. He is first of all talking about combining the prayer, meaning you're combining Dhuhr with Asr, or you're praying Asr with Dhuhr, or you're combining Maghrib with Isha, yeah, or Isha with Maghrib, right? This is called combining the prayer. But he's saying when you have an excuse. So he says, in other words, he, meaning the Prophet ﷺ, is the rule that every prayer must be offered in its proper time to allow him to complete his journey, since stopping might put someone in great difficulty. Okay? They're talking about caravans and things. It's difficult to stop the caravan now. So to pray, yeah, to pray. So it is permissible in such circumstances, or even if you're in a plane, even if you're in a car, it's difficult, no? You're in a car, you're on the motorway. It's not easy to stop for every prayer. So in this circumstance, it's permissible that you join Dhuhr with Asr and Maghrib and Isha, right? But the point he's making is you're only allowed to do this when you're actually traveling. You're on the road, okay? But if he stops in a place for 2 or 3 days, yeah, or even one day, then it is no longer necessary to combine two prayers. He can easily perform each one in its proper time. Yeah. So you've reached the city, yeah, and now why are you now combining prayers still? Now you've reached your destination, right? Now you can easily perform each prayer and in its proper time. So you see, he's talking about taking excessive license. You know in your heart when it's easy to pray on time, and you know when it's difficult. Yeah. So doing it out of laziness is what he's talking about. You're doing it out of laziness means you do not have veneration of the laws of Allah in your heart. Then he says combining two prayers is not an absolute sunnah. So as so many travelers suppose, whether there is an excuse to do so or not. They're making a very important point. He's saying you don't have to join the two prayers together. It's not an absolute sunnah. Even if you're on the road, yeah, even if you're on the road and if it's possible for you without putting yourself in great difficulty, you can pray every prayer on time, pray it on time. It's not an absolute sunnah. Okay? Rather, to combine two prayers is a conditional permission. Okay? Now, this is different to shortening the prayer, meaning making 4 into 2. Yeah? So he says, rather, to shorten the prayer is an imposed sunnah. So there's a big difference between combining prayers and shortening prayers. Shortening prayers is an imposed sunnah, meaning you have to shorten the prayer. Okay? Because if you are praying 4 rakah when you're in a state of traveling, you're going against the sunnah of the Prophet. Why? Because he always shortened his prayer. Okay? But he always did not combine his prayer. Okay, so this is an excellent example of where we can fall into taking excessive license in the rules of Allah, right? Shorten, I must, okay? But combining, that you have to look at your situation. So he says, to shorten prayers from 4 rakah to 2 is a sunnah for the traveler, with or without excuse. Yeah, even if you are now in a luxury hotel, barakallahu feekum, right? And it's easy for you to pray 4, yeah, but no, you will pray 2. With or without excuse, you will pray 2 because that is the imposed sunnah. To combine them is only in care of need. Okay? So the former is one thing and the latter is another. So you must be very careful in understanding this, that shortening is one thing and combining is another thing. Shorten I must when I travel, but combining depends on my situation. Okay? So here is where a person can fall into excessive license, right? There's no need. I'm completely fine. No problem for me. I'm on a journey and I can pray on time. Why am I shortening? Why am I combining? Right? And especially if I've reached the place, right? I'm still in a state of traveling, aren't I? For 3 days, according to the Hanabala, you shorten and combine. You can shorten and combine. Yeah, for 3 days. And if but there's a big difference of opinion, so you have to follow your mother, right, or your scholar. If you're not following a mother, right, you just go with what they're saying. But the important thing is, with something, again, people don't realize it. If your intention is, for example, I'm going to go and see my sister, and my intention is, as a humbly, that I'm going to stay there for 7 days, then I'm only allowed to shorten and combine my prayer while I'm traveling from my home to her house. Okay, only then. That's it. Once I reach the house, and I have to start praying full. Why? Because my intention is longer than 3 days. I'm planning on staying for 7. Okay. Anyway, this is a fiqh issue, and you can refer to your own madhab or your own scholar, inshallah. But the question is about veneration. What about Hanafi? I don't know what the Hanafi opinion is. I think it's like it's way longer than 3 days. You'll have to ask your imam. Okay. But it's way longer than 3 days. 3 days is a Hanabila. Okay, then he says, similarly, what's the topic? Signs of veneration. How much veneration do I have of the laws of Allah in my heart? Yeah. When I'm traveling, what am I doing? Similarly, to satisfy one's appetite for food is permitted. I'm hungry, I eat. No problem. It's not forbidden. Yet a person should not take excessive license with this. May Allah guide us. May Allah guide us. How? What's he talking about? Overeating. Yeah. This is another sign of how much veneration we have of the laws of Allah, how much veneration we have of Allah Himself. May Allah guide us. Ya Rab. This is the time of du'as, my dear sisters. Ask Allah to guide you and me and all of us and our children and our loved ones. Ameen, Ya Rab. I'll repeat what he said. Yet a person should not take excessive license with this and become so full that he needs to find something to aid his digestion, thereby making his stomach his main concern both before and after eating. Making his stomach his main concern. What am I eating today? What am I cooking today? Oh, so many hours in the kitchen. Look what he says on your screen. The slave of Allah should feel hunger and satisfy his appetite, but he should turn down food when he simply craves it. The perfect balance is in the Prophet's words, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, 1/3 for his food, this is hadith, 1/3 for his drink, and 1/3 for his breath. Then he says, the 3 parts are not all for food. This is excessive license. Okay. It shows, subhanallah, the state of our heart. On the other hand, an example of opposition to the divine law through obsessive strictness. Okay. Now the other extreme. One extreme is being, taking this excessive license in permitted things. Yeah. Going overboard in permitted things and therefore going into haram. Yeah. Here is another extreme is being extra strict. Yeah. So this is also a problem. So he says, this is opposition to the divine law. You're not allowed to be excessive through obsessive strictness. In the case of someone who always hears whispers while performing of wudu, getting so concerned with doing it correctly that he misses the prayer time. Subhanallah. This is like a sickness, really. Or someone who repeats the first takbir so many times that he misses the imam's recitation of the opening chapter, meaning Al-Fatiha, or nearly misses the whole rakah, or someone who is so obsessed with scruples about lawful and unlawful food that he refuses to eat any food of the generality of the Muslims out of fear that something doubtful may be in it. Subhanallah, he doesn't eat the food of the Muslims. He doesn't believe that the food that the Muslims are offering him is halal. Yeah, this is too much. Such obsessive scruples so overcome one ignorant ascetic that he refused to eat anything from the lands of Islam. He would sustain himself only by what came from Christian lands. So this is obvious deviation, right? But you see, the niya is, oh, I want to be so correct, I want to be so good, I want to be such a good Muslim, and he goes um, into obsessive strictness. So he gives an example of this ascetic who ended up eating from Christian lands, even if he had to travel forth in search of it. So obsessed had he become that he regarded Muslims as bad and Christians as good. And we seek refuge in Allah from being abandoned. Okay. So this is a very important to understand that in our deen, we are commanded to do what? Take the middle road. Take the middle road. You're not allowed to be too lax, and you're not allowed to be also too strict. You need to be in the middle. You need to follow the path of the Prophet ﷺ, do things exactly the way he did it, right? Because he was in the middle and he sets the perfect example for us. So then the translators, they give another subheading to this chapter. Yeah. The next one, they call it avoiding extremes. Avoiding extremes. Let me have a quick look at your chat before moving on. Right. Don't give bottles of alcohol to your boss or colleagues at Christmas. Actually, this is completely haram. Okay, this is not being taking excessive license in permissible things. This is completely haram because there's a hadith which curses the one who has any kind of dealings with alcohol. You cannot buy, you cannot sell, you cannot even press the grapes. You cannot do. I mean, it's a long hadith. It talks about all stages in the production of alcohol and then uh, trading in it, and then you're not allowed. Curse, subhanallah, curse of Allah. So it's a extremely serious sin. Curse meaning you've been a person has been what? Ejected from the mercy of Allah. So yeah, think about that. And you know something else? It's a bit of a tangent since you bring up alcohol. Um, where I live in the UK, there's this tradition in the primary schools. I don't know what happens in secondary schools. In primary schools, every year they give a gift to the teacher, which is a wonderful thing. We should respect our teachers and teach our children to respect the teachers. But they have this tradition of giving something and alcohol, something and alcohol, and then like the class rep, she will go around collecting money from all the parents to buy this. Completely haram. If you know they're going to be buying alcohol, completely not allowed. Okay, what do I do? I don't want to behave like I'm, no, I don't want to, give a present. I want to give a present, and I do want to take part in activities which are halal. Yeah. So you have to figure out how you're going to deal with it, but you definitely cannot say, okay, it will look bad. you want you want the punishment of Allah because it looks bad, right? People will not like what you're doing. There's no excuse, right? You can simply go and at least try. Go and ask the class rep, oh, I would love to take part in this, but it's really not allowed for me to buy alcohol. People normally know that we Muslims don't drink, but they don't know that we're not even allowed to buy it. We're not allowed to go and sit at a table where people are drinking alcohol. They don't know it. You have to tell them and just say, look, I really want to do this, but if you're going to buy alcohol, I really can't do it. You will be surprised because of your intention. Allah will make it easy for you. Yeah. He might just turn on and say, okay, no problem, we'll buy chocolates. End of story. Right? There are many people, non-Muslims nowadays, who don't drink alcohol. It's so true. It's so true. You see, but Shaitan tricks us. He's like, oh, what will they think? Well, let them think. You want Jannah. And plus, you're teaching your children it's okay. It's not easy to combine the prayers and still pray on correct time. No, when you combine the prayer, you're praying it on one time. Meaning, if it's going to be difficult for you to pray Asr on time because of your journey, right? You're already on the journey, first of all, right? And you're on the journey and you're like, oh, at Asr time, I might be landing. So what do I do? At Dhuhr time, I pray Dhuhr and Asr together. Or the opposite, right? You prayed Dhuhr on, you're finding it difficult to pray right now for some reason. You're already in the air, you're already in the car. It's okay, Dhuhr time is going, it's gone, it's okay. I'll pray with Asr. Okay, so you're allowed to do it both ways. Right. Okay, moving on. If everyone is fine up till now. Okay, avoiding extremes. The Imam says, the inner reality of veneration for the divine law is to follow it with neither excessive license nor obsessive strictness. The goal is the straight path that leads the one who travels it to Allah. But, oh, sorry, I should have put that on the screen for you. But there is not one of Allah's commandments without two ways of approach to the devil, one by deficiency, the other by excess. Okay. In everything you're doing, the Imam is saying the devil is going to try and tempt you either with excessive license, deficiency, or by excess, by being overly strict. He's going to try and put you in both directions. And it makes no difference which of the two error overtakes the slave, they appear in his heart as equals. If he is already inclined towards ease and license, the shaitan seizes him in this way. Okay, so he'll see what you're like. He knows you. He knows you have the tendency towards laziness, right? So this is how he's going to tempt you. He slows him and sits him down. Subhanallah. He slows him and sits him down, afflicts him with laziness, sloth, and inactivity. Ya Allah. Then he opens for him the door of interpretation, ta'wil, and vain hope, raja. But this is hope which is bad type, yeah? Vain hope. And other illusions, until perhaps he abandons entirely all the commandments. This is one of the traps of shaitan. If the devil finds in him vigilance, activity, and energy, he abandons his attempts to seize him from the one direction and instead spurs him on to ever greater efforts, whispering to him, this is not enough for you. Your aspiration is higher than this. You should accomplish more than others. And if they you will not let up. If they break their fast, you will not. If they wear down, you will not. Okay, so if this he's giving us example of the person who wants to do things for the sake of Allah, how he tricks him. If one of them washes his hands 3 times, you will wash yours 7 times. If one of them makes ablution for prayer, you will take the complete bath, and other such extremes. Therefore, the devil urges this person to do so much that he passes up the straight path through excess, while he urges the first person to do so little that he never reaches the straight path, nor even approaches it, but his aim with both is the same, to keep them off the straight path, either by not drawing near to it or by passing it up. Surely many are so afflicted, and there is no deliverance for them save through deeper knowledge, faith, and the strength to resist them and to keep to the middle way, and Allah is the helper. Okay, so both are bad. You cannot say laziness is bad and being over is okay. Yeah, no, you have to follow the Prophet ﷺ. You cannot say, no, I'm traveling, I'm going to pray 4 rakat. You've gone into deviation. You've gone into deviation, right? Shaitan tricked you. Shaitan tricked you. I like to pray the full Aisha even when I'm traveling. Well, the Prophet ﷺ never did it. Yeah. So what do you need? The Sheikh, he concludes this part of the chapter by saying, nothing will save you except deeper knowledge. You need to know your fiqh. You need to understand how to pray, when to pray, how much to pray, right? You need the deeper knowledge. Plus, what else do you need? Faith and the strength to resist them, temptations of shaitan, and to keep to the middle way. This should be your goal. I want to follow the methodology of the Prophet ﷺ. Okay? And Allah is the helper. You can't do anything unless Allah helps you. Okay? Now he's going to talk about the next topic is, but we'll only move on. Let me have a look at the time. The ego, the physical nature, and the members of the body. That's the next topic within the same chapter. We've done 36 minutes. Are you all okay in terms of focus? Or you would like to stop now? If you can give me a little bit feedback, we'll then move on. 1, 2, 3. I think we can do it in about 20 minutes if I don't give too many comments. Okay, Baki is good. Barakallah feek. Okay. He talks about next the ego, the physical nature, and the members of the body. He says, also among the signs of veneration, the signs of respect for Allah's law is when a slave avoids taking them in a way that undermines his submission. Rather, he submits to Allah's commandments and rules. Okay, so this person on your screen, he accomplishes what he is commanded, whether their meaning is apparent to him or not. This is very important. Something which is established in the deen, all the 4 madahib are saying you have to do. The Quran and Sunnah is clear, you have to do. Even if it doesn't make sense to you, you have to do it. Yeah, this is what he's saying. He accomplishes what he's commanded, whether their meaning is apparent to him or not. But you'll only do this if you have veneration of the laws of Allah in your heart. When you have veneration of Allah Himself in your heart, only then you will follow all the commandments and stay away from all the prohibitions, right? Whether you understand it or not. This is his point. Because our knowledge is extremely limited. You're not going to understand all the wisdoms. It takes time to seek this knowledge, to understand all the commandments. Why do I need to pray Fajr? Right? Why do I need to pray Maghrib and Isha? Why do I need to do this? Why? You just do. You'll find out the wisdoms as you seek knowledge. Start seeking knowledge. There are wisdoms behind each and every single law in the Sharia of Allah. And and you should study this knowledge. Right? Why? Because you'll appreciate the laws of Allah and it'll motivate you to do more. But if you have this veneration in your heart, yeah, you will say, it doesn't matter. The knowledge will come and it will come. In the meantime, I'm going to implement. Right? Why hijab? You might not know the wisdoms behind hijab. You don't need to know the wisdoms. Okay? You need to implement. He accomplishes what he is commanded, whether their meaning is apparent to him or not. If their meaning is apparent to him, this only leads him to accept them and to submit to them all the more deeply. Yeah? It'll increase you in your love for Allah. You'll say, oh Allah, you love us so much, you love me so much, you want so much khair for me. Yeah, because there was great wisdoms. Not to rid himself of them or to abandon them, as so many heretical fuqara and those associated with Sufism have done. So now he has, sorry, just give me 1 second, my dear sister. Okay, sorry about that. No, now what Imam Ibn Qayyim, he has a little bit of a go at not Sufism as a whole, but the extreme Sufis. Okay, so he has a go at them. He says, as so many heretical fuqara and those associated with Sufism have done. Those people who said that, oh, now we have so much knowledge of the wisdoms behind the Sharia of Allah. Now I understand why we need to be praying 5 times a day. I have this great knowledge now, so I don't need to pray anymore. Okay, so this is quite obviously wrong, but some people have gone into this. Um, he calls it heretical. Okay, so it's pretty problematic. Now, Allah ordained the 5 canonical prayers be maintained in His remembrance, involving the heart, the limbs, the tongue in devotion. Each in is accorded its just measure of worship, the purpose of man's creation. In prayer, Allah placed the most perfect degree of servantship, al-ubudiyah. Yeah, the most perfect degree of ubudiyah. It's your expression of your servitude to Allah. And Allah created the human being, then distinguished him above all other creatures by making the human heart the abode of his treasures. Now, this is really interesting and extremely beautiful. By making the heart the abode of his treasures. This is what distinguishes you from all other creatures if you have these beautiful qualities. Okay, how many is he listing over here? I think about 7. You can see in the Arabic as well on your screen. Number 1, al-Iman, faith. Number 2, Tawheed, oneness. Number 3, wal-Ikhlas, sincerity. Number 4, al-Muhabba, Mahabba, love. Number 5, wal-Haya, propriety. Number 6, Ta'zim, reverence. And number 7, al-Muraqaba, self-examination. For those who draw near to Allah, He made a perfect and excellent reward to gaze upon His face, to win His perfect pleasure, to dwell near Him in His heaven. With all this, the slave is nevertheless tried first through desires, anger, and negligence. Okay, Allah tries the slave through 3 things: desires, hawa, anger, and negligence, ghafla. Okay, then he says, he is tried through his foe, his enemy, Iblis, who never lets him be, but comes to him through the doorways of his. Now he gives a list of doorways. How does Iblis attack? His ego. Now in Arabic, the word is nafs. Okay, that's the word Imam Ibn Qayyim uses. The door of his nafs, the translators, they use the word ego over here, and his physical nature. The slave's nafs inclines towards the devil because the devil brings forth the things it wants. This is a very interesting statement. فَيَمِيلُ نَفْسَهُ. فَيَمِيل means the shaitan, he brings forth and gently, فَيَمِيلُ, gently, he brings forth the things what? That the nafs loves. بِمَا تُحِبْ. This is the doorway that Iblis uses. Meaning, Iblis will not use things which are obviously evil to tempt you. He will tempt you through the doorway of the things that you like, things that you want, things that you love. This is how he'll tempt you. This is how he'll attack you. This is how he will trap you. And he does it gently, fayamil. Okay? Step by step. Story of Barsisa. Those who know the story. Step by step. Yeah? He is not going to come to you and say to you, okay, why don't you go commit zina? He's never going to say that. He's never going to say that. He's going to say, oh, you're going over there. Why don't you dress up this time? Okay, yeah, you wear the hijab and everything. Just do a little bit makeup. Little bit makeup. The man over there, they won't notice. A little bit makeup. Right? This is how he does. He's not going to tell you go to commit zina. Step by step, this is how he does it. Because why? He knows you like looking nice. It's female nature. I want to look good. I want to look beautiful. Right? Yeah. So the devil, the nafs, and the desires. These three things, being the three controlling powers, they join forces, they unite against the slave with the members of the body, which are only subjugated instruments. Yeah. You cannot blame your body. Your body is controlled by these three controlling powers. You remember the three controlling powers he just mentioned? Iblis, the ego, the nafs, and number three, the desires. And the limbs, they only follow. They carry out their ends and they cannot do otherwise. Such are the three controlling powers, and such are the members of the body, which continue to obey them, however they are commanded and wherever they are directed. Can your hand say no if you say, okay, do eye makeup, put so much mascara now? Right? Because I want to do it. So what if all the men are going to be there? So what? Going to a wedding? So what? I want to look good. Yeah? Desires. Shaitan urging you. You don't want people to say, oh, look at you. You're looking so bad. You're looking so plain. And you're like, yes, I want people to praise me. Yeah. This is all nothing but destruction. Subhanallah. May Allah help us. May Allah guide us. This is the slave's true state on earth. Yeah. What is his true state? What is Imam Ibn Qayyim referring to? Being controlled by these three controlling powers. Shaitan, your desires, your nafs. It requires the mercy of the Lord to come to the aid of the slave with some force and to support him through any means that will stand against the forces that seek his destruction. Yeah. Only if Allah has mercy upon you can you be saved from these three forces. What is the implication of what Imam is saying? What is the implication? Think about it. I'll repeat. I want you people to think about the implication of what he's saying. It requires the mercy of the Lord to come to the aid of the servant with some force and to support him through any means that will stand against the forces that seek his ruin. What's the implication? Story of Barsisa. It's a tangent. Maybe we can post on the group. The implication is if you are following your desires, if you are following Iblis, if you are following your nafs, it means you're not receiving the mercy of Allah. When you're being allowed to do all these things, haram things. So we beg Allah to have mercy upon us. But you have to want guidance now. You have to be willing to change. Otherwise, why will you receive this mercy? Makes you realize how dependent we are on Allah. And then if He allows us to sin, right? He's allowing you to sin, right? You and me. If He's allowing you and me to sin, it means He's deprived us of this particular mercy. We are not being protected from what? Shaitan. Our desires. Why will Allah help us when we are making excuses for our sins? Why will Allah help us if we are making excuses and justifying? Okay. So he says he helps the slave with some force and to support him through means that will stand against the forces that seek his ruin. And so Allah sends him his messenger and his book. and then strengthens him with a noble angel poised against his foe, the devil. While the devil sends down his own command to the slave, the angel gives the servant the commandment of his Lord and makes it clear what ruin awaits him should he obey his enemy. So you have an angel on your right whispering to you to obey Allah, but you also have the shaitan telling you to do the opposite. Hmm? Sometimes one wins out, sometimes the other. Who do you listen to? Yeah? Sometimes one wins out, sometimes the other. Then the Imam says, وَالْمَنْصُورُ مِنْ نَصْرِهِ اللَّهُ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. Victorious is he to whom Allah gives victory. Victorious is he to whom Allah gives victory. And then he says, Al-Mahfuz, protected, is he to whom Allah grants protection. Yeah? So think about it. If you're sinning and it doesn't bother you, realize you don't have this form of protection of Allah. You have been deprived of the protection and the mercy of Allah. Now, if you want to change, oh, I need to give this up. Oh, I need to start covering up properly. I need to stop this makeup business. I need to stop this wearing all these beautiful clothes and going out in public. You need to realize victorious, going back to the previous slide, victorious is he to whom Allah gives victory. You will not be able to do it unless Allah helps you. Protected is he to whom Allah grants protection. You will not be protected unless Allah protects you. So what do you need to do? Beg Allah. Oh Allah, I don't want to do this today. I don't want to sin this. I don't want to sin today. And you know your own sin. Everybody knows their own sins. Okay, hey, how can I wear, put the hijab on and go to work? What will people say? Who is saying this to you? Number one, shaitan. Right? Number one, shaitan is the one. Plus your desires. Your desires are agreeing with shaitan. What will people say? Everybody will mock me. Everybody will say she's become so extreme. Right? Ask Allah to help you and say, oh Allah, this is really difficult for me, but I need to do this. Why? I don't want to die on the road without my hijab on. Right? You don't know how long you have to live. May Allah help us all. May Allah help us all. Ameen Ya Rab. How are we doing on time? Okay, so he's going to now expand on this a little bit, and I think we should stop over here. And we will continue with this point of the ego, the physical nature, and the members of the body on Monday, inshallah. Okay? But I think we've got plenty to think about until we meet again, bi'idhnillah. All right, everyone? So, jazakumullah khaira. I'm going to stop the recording, and then if anybody would like to comment or ask a question.